I feel like this could go a couple of ways. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Groundhog Day for a Black Man. This is a video on YouTube by Cynthia Kao? I'm not 100% sure. I apologize ahead of time for any which way I mispronounce that. So I don't know what this video is. It's pretty short. It's only about like just over 4 minutes long. So I'm assuming it's like some kind of like skit or short or something. Maybe something in relation to like a social issue, because the title makes me think of a couple different ways this could go. Like I said in the cold open, Groundhog Day makes me think of two things right off the bat. One, it makes me think of the holiday in February, and I use holiday very loosely. For those who are not from America, Groundhog Day is a day where we take this this groundhog named Puxatawny Phil, watch it and coerce it, let's be honest here, come out of its den and check to see if it has a shadow, which the groundhog isn't doing any of this shit, by the way. We're just like acting like it is. And it's supposed to be like, oh, if it sees a shadow, there's this much time left of winter, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, it's stupid. Because it absolutely has no basis in reality. It's not even pseudoscience. That's giving it too much credit. It's just a bullshit little thing that we do. Ritual, I guess you could call it. And I doubt that this video is about that, because that just doesn't really make sense for me. The second option I feel is more likely. Groundhog Day is also the name of a movie, a Bill Murray movie, in which he lives the same day over and over. Groundhog's Day. He lives the same day over and over. Every day he wakes up, whether he dies or whatever happens, he always wakes up and has to relive the same day over and over, because it's basically the idea of he's trying to learn a lesson, and he has to figure out like what he's doing wrong and everything, etc., etc. You get the idea. This has obviously been done in various media. It's been parodied. It's been played around with, the idea of like reliving the same day over and over in order to try and like learn something from it. And I think that's what is going to be done here. But if this is based on the title, Groundhog Day for a Black Man, I have a feeling this isn't like going to be about like the man learning the lesson. I feel like the lesson being taught here is more for the audience, and it's going to be about injustices and how like this system, whether the justice system, the law system, well, I mean that's the same thing, the police system, etc., is against people of color, which it is. By the way, just to make that very clear here, it 100% fucking is. This feels like it'd probably be a very big video like around the entire Black Lives Matter movement, based on its title and based off of what I know about the movie Groundhog Day. I think it's going to have something to do with that. According to this, I'm not looking at the description in case it says anything about this, but I do see that this came out in December of 2016. Which I don't know if like there was like a big like spike in this kind of like discussion back then, because I just don't remember that far back. I have a terrible memory. I can remember certain things weirdly without any reason, but then it's like if I'm trying to remember like especially world events or social issues or whatnot, and like place that to a specific year, I can't do it. The only thing I can actually place to a very specific year is the entire movement specifically happening in 2020. And I know the Black Lives Matter movement existed before that, but there was a big spike in that in 2020 because of the stuff that happened around that time. And I remember how, like, huge it became then, and rightly so. It was like practically a whole new civil rights movement. And, like, it just really blew up. Now, I don't know. I don't know if back in 2016 it was like a really big time for that. I just don't know. I was in a very different place in 2016 in terms of like my mental health and a lot. So there's a lot of stuff that happened around that time that I was not like paying enough attention to, admittedly, and that's on me. I will own up to that. But yeah, there's a lot around 2015, 2016 that I was in a better place than I was back in 2013, but I was still in an odd place, I would say, because 2016 was around the time I really started thinking about like my identity. And a lot of my attention and focus, unfortunately, was taken up almost entirely by that. Mind you, it wasn't until 2017 that I really started looking into that, but 2016 I started thinking about it. And then the end of 2017 in November, I did finally come out and after coming to realize who I am. And not the point here. The point is, like, I don't know if this was like, I mean, I assume it was a big deal back then, if this video is what I think it's going to be like. So I'm just interested to find out. So I think we should get into this and let it speak for itself. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I was looking through the comments of this video, and I found out something interesting. I looked a little bit more into it as well. Apparently, this film was plagiarized. This short film was super directly plagiarized and copied by Netflix and Now This. This film came out in 2016, and in 2020, after the George Floyd murder, Now This came to Cynthia Cao and asked her about using the film and showcasing it on their platform, on their social media. She said yes, and they amplified her work. A year later, Netflix came out with a short film called Two Distant Strangers that is literally the exact same premise. Like, it's a little longer, but it's the premise is exactly the same. Like, pretty much on the dot. The only difference is that it's a little longer and goes into a little bit more. And Cynthia herself made a TikTok about this, talking about it and how very obvious it was. And apparently, like, the creators of the Netflix one denied that it was copied, even though it's like so blatantly obvious. And there's also the fact that the Netflix one won an Oscar. Not just was nominated, but won an Oscar. Two Distant Strangers. And it's just like, that's fucked up. And from what I could tell, nothing ever, like, happened. Nothing was ever resolved with this. It was just the accusations of it. And although the controversy exists, it was never handled in the end. Which really sucks, because, again, this came out in 2016. 4 years before Now This highlighted it on their social media, and 5 years before that the Netflix film Two Distant Strangers came out. And even if you want to say that Two Distant Strangers was in the works for 1 to 2 years or something, even before the amplification on social media by Now This, it's like, her work has still been out there since 2016. You can't legitimately say this is a coincidence when it's that close. Because even if this was in the works before they reached out to her, there's absolutely nothing saying that they couldn't have, like, been working on this based on her work prior to ever contacting her. They could have absolutely been working on this and, stealing her idea before they ever even contacted her. Before they emailed her about, like, highlighting her work on their social media. In fact, that could come across as just a way to, like, give them plausible deniability. This is one of those cases where it's so aggressively obvious that they just stole her premise that it's not really deniable. And it sucks, because this is like it's a great premise. It obviously plays on Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, like I expected it to. And it talks about a really important issue. About how black people are treated by police. Like you see in this short, like, he gets shot and killed for doing nothing, literally. And this is something that unfortunately happens. So many people of color are shot and killed by police with no provocation, no reason, just nothing. And they get away with it too. That makes it even worse. The fact that they get away with it most of the time. And it's so fucking upsetting. And this short tries to be a little silly with it, like with the silly costumes. Like, I'm dressed as a grilled cheese, I'm dressed as a lobster, etc., etc. But it's like the actual, like, context behind everything here is just so aggressively, like, upsetting and anger-inducing. It's just, the fact that people do this in real life, the fact that this kind of shit happens, is just, it's almost unbelievable. Because you don't want to believe that there are people out there who are that fucked up and evil, who are going to kill someone because they make gross judgments based on the color of their skin. And you see some of that in this. You see, it's like, oh, we've been looking for a person of your description. Never explains what that description is, but we know what they're talking about. We understand what it's saying. And it's just like, you see, like, he gets shot and killed for literally complying with what he's asked to do. It's like, oh, reach for your registration and stuff. Reaches for registration, gets shot. Are you holding a weapon? Literally has his hands out the window, open palm, clearly not holding anything. It's just like, it's obviously portrayed in an almost comical way at points, but the subject material here is not comical in any way. It's something that just happens, and a lot of times it's like there's very little you can do to stop it, it seems. Because no matter what you do, it's like people like that treat it as a sign of aggression. And you see, like, the short also goes out of its way to show how, like, stupid this kind of ideology and these kind of people are, by, like, doing the entire Mrs. Doubtfire bit and that actually working initially. It's like that the cop actually thinking that that's a white woman and everything. And it's clearly making fun of the intelligence of these cops, and it's like, that's, fair. Because it's like there's clearly no intelligence happening for people who do this kind of stuff. It is void of any of that. It's racism is dumb. Let's put it that way. Racism is dumb by nature. You cannot be acting in intelligence and you cannot be smart if you're a racist. Like, you can be, like, book smart in certain ways or whatnot, but intelligence and racism are so diametrically opposed to each other. And book smarts, by the way, are not relevant to intelligence anyways, because book smarts is just memorizing shit. Part of the reason why the school system is fucked up, but that's an entirely different story. Like, there's even the implication here, like, when he stays inside and calls in and stuff, it's like it still shows him waking up. So it's like something still happened, whether a neighbor, someone called the police, seen him in the window and thinking he was, like, breaking in or something like that. Either way, something still happened to where he was killed by police in that situation, even if it didn't show that one directly. It's a really horrific truth, and this short film brings really important attention to it. And again, this is like 4 years before the big, like, uptick in all of this happened with the George Floyd murder. This issue has existed pretty much as long as the police system has. Like, whether you want to argue that there's a good cop here and there, this cop would never do that or something like that, the police as a system are intrinsically ingrained in racism. Like, the entire system is fucked to the point where this racism is just a part of their, like, core attitudes and beliefs. And you see how institutionalized it is through the events of stuff like this. And it's just like, it's like undeniable how unfairly people of color are treated compared to white people in these kinds of traffic stops and whatnot. It's just fact. It's not deniable. And I really wish I could say that in 2025 we were better than this, but we're not. And it's just, this world is, like, horrible. We're in a fucking terrible position with shit like this still. And it's like, you want to say, like, oh, but it's better than it was in the 60s or something like that. It's like, barely. Barely. It's not as better as we need it to be, as people of color need it to be. Like, I hear people, like, specifically terrible racist right-wing people say this all the time, where it's like, oh, black people aren't oppressed anymore. They have these rights. They have the right to vote. They have the right to hold office and stuff. It's like they use this kind of stuff as excuses to, like, try and argue that black people aren't being, systematically mistreated and murdered and, like, horrifically discriminated against still. And it's just like, that's not evidence to support your side. And there's so much evidence, there's endless evidence to showcase how black people are absolutely still being persecuted and mistreated. And you just refuse to see it because, you're racist yourself. It's so fucked up, and it really sucks that shit like this has to be made. And while you could, like, going back to the entire fact that, this premise was stolen by Netflix and everything, you could, like, make an argument like, oh, but doesn't that get the word out more? It's like you have, like, a bigger company working on it, it's nominated for and won an Oscar and everything. It's like, yes, it gets the message out, and the message getting out is a big deal. It is important. But it's still theft of work. It's still theft of concept. It's like, that's still fucked up, no matter how you look at it. It's like, while the word getting out there isn't the issue. The issue is that it was a concept, an idea that was stolen from someone else's hard work. That's the issue. But this short was still, like, really good and really important, and told in a bit of a comedic way with some, like, little goofy moments, but still made clear how serious this kind of issue is. And it is an issue we need to keep working towards resolving. Because, again, we should not be having this issue in 2025. So, let me know what you thought of Groundhog Day for a Black Man in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.